When I was about 19, I was in a psychiatric hospitalization for just a myriad of things that were going on at the time and just not feeling safe. And on my discharge paperwork, they had written rule out borderline personality disorder, but I never followed up. So it kind of got lost in the shuffle. But it wasn't until about 3 years ago that I officially received the diagnosis during an intensive outpatient treatment. A lot of it revolved around relationships, just really intense relationships, trust issues, lots of fears around abandonment and being left, and not being able to tolerate and handle those fears, even when they weren't always realistic. They felt really real to me.
Yeah.
And I had no way of knowing at the time how to decipher that. It felt real, so it was real, and I reacted as if it was real. Threatening that I would hurt myself in some way, because I felt so desperate for whoever it was not to leave me, and I didn't know any other way, and I found that worked to really grab someone's attention and make them care. It was scary, because I noticed that I was very chameleon-like, and I would, whoever I was around, at that time, if I was in that place, I would be looking at you right now and your mannerisms and mimicking that back and trying to be like you. So I never really had a sense of who I was apart from anyone. The blog has evolved into 2 different books, and I think writing them was therapeutic, but I think seeing them sell and hearing feedback from people around the world, literally around the globe, that they're reading this and feeling less alone and feeling like someone understands their story and that they feel more hopeful, that has been healing for me. I've shared my story, and honestly, when I was in the pit of despair and suffering and dysfunction and sabotaging and manipulating and doing all these things because I didn't know any other way, I didn't really believe in my heart that I could have a huge transformation. I thought I'd always really be suffering to a large degree and feel extremely mentally ill and be dependent on the system and constantly seeking services and being in crisis. So to see huge pieces like the emptiness piece of not being able to tolerate being alone and not being able to imagine handling that without ending up in the emergency room or ending up, threatening to commit suicide or whatever my behaviors were at that time, to a point where I actually enjoy having some time alone. And I feel comfortable in my own skin, and I feel like I have a sense of who I am, and I'm not pretending to be anybody else. So that identity piece too, it's hugely dramatic. It's hugely dramatic. Sometimes I can't believe it. And that's why I feel so motivated to put stuff out there to encourage people, because I did not believe myself that I could get better. But there was a part of me obviously that did, and that took the steps to move forward, but to see just how much could change internally, I'm just so hopeful for everybody who's out there right now who thinks, am I ever going to get better? Am I ever going to feel less pain? Can I really get over this? Yes, you can.